I want to be very clear and transparent about what you are about to hear and how we obtained it, because I think that's important, especially in light of other interviews that have come out with Cassie and questions that have surrounded those. This is something that was shot by the protesters. You've seen the protesters night after night in our stories. They come outside Brian Laundrie's parents with their bullhorns. Well, today they left here and they went to Cassie Laundrie's house, Brian's sister, and they were protesting outside, and something unexpected happened. Cassie and her husband came outside onto the front lawn. They clearly knew they were being recorded because there's several different recordings, and they just started talking. They started talking to the protesters and answering their questions for close to 20 minutes, Marnie.
That's right, Brian. So as we splice these clips together, you're going to hear a number of new things that we have not heard from before. And the silence from this family, no more, hearing for the first time Cassie in a number of weeks since her brother has gone missing. And the investigation into Gabby Petito's death continues. So in this first clip, Cassie addresses her parents, who have not spoken since Brian disappeared. She also talks about the family camping trip to Fort DeSoto. That was on September 6th. Let's listen.
And I am losing my parents and my brother and my children's aunt and my future sister-in-law on top of this, and you're not helping.
Why your parents? Why your parents? You're talking about Christmas.
They're not talking to us either.
Why aren't they talking to you guys?
If I knew, I would say. I don't know.
Do you think they're involved, your parents?
I don't know. At Fort DeSoto on the 6th, we got there at around 2 o'clock, and we left around 8 because the kids had school the next day.
On the 6th?
On the 6th. We only stayed for about 6 hours.
Who was there?
My mom, my dad, my brother. We had s'mores, we had dinner.
What did Brian say anything about Gabby?
We had our kids there. Nothing came up.
He didn't say anything about Gabby?
No, we've told the FBI everything.
Did Brian go?
The world does not need to know what the FBI knows.
All right, so a couple key points there, Brian. As you heard, they were asked, do you think that your parents are involved? And she said, I don't know. She also talked about that September 6th, Fort DeSoto camping with the family. She said they were there about 6 hours. And she said at that point, she did not know that Gabby was missing. Based on the timeline, you have been on this case since the very, very beginning. What stands out to you about what Cassie shared?
Well, let's just go to the headline here, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it. She was asked, are your parents involved? And she said, I don't know. She didn't say no. She said, I don't know. And she said that she has not been in touch with her parents. So obviously there is division within this family right now. People were thinking maybe they were all on the same page. If she's telling the truth, there's division within the family right now. And she said it in her own words. She doesn't know whether her parents are involved and whether or not they know where Brian Laundrie is right now.
She also said, Brian, she said, I've lost my brother and my parents. Why your parents? Because they're not talking to us. I'm not talking to my parents. And then do you think they're involved? She doesn't know. Let's play this next clip for you. Cassie talks about the day Brian showed up at her house. Now, this was back on September 1st when she found out Gabby was missing, and also why she has been silent so far.
So when he came here September 1st, right? You said he came, what did he come here for?
My parents wanted to surprise the kids to pick them up at school. I did not know that Brian was with them when we had previously planned to hang out with them. This is not what we want to be doing. This is not how we want the world to find out when we're angry and upset. But I can't have my kids be crying for 3 days in a row.
What did the FBI take out of the house here? Like what?
Nothing.
They came here though.
Yes.
During.
We met with them multiple times.
You met with them multiple times. Yeah. Did they ask you for like polygraphs or anything like that?
No, but
no.
So not asked about a polygraph. She said, my parents surprised me with the kids. Brian showed up. She didn't know that he was coming. What do you make of what she shared there, Brian?
Well, it's interesting. She's claiming that her parents came to her house and that she didn't know Brian Laundrie was going to be there back on September 1st. But remember, when she first did the interview with ABC News, which was short and not really a full interview, and there were a lot of questions about that, ABC News reported that she had said she hadn't seen Brian since he returned to Florida. So we were interested when we had our exclusive reporting on Friday that she had, in fact, seen Brian at her house on September 1st. Now this new nugget, she's claiming that she just thought her parents were coming and that Brian wasn't going to be there.
Brian, this next clip that we're going to share with folks at home is one of the more surprising, and I watched all 20 minutes. Let's listen now to Cassie describe the attorney for Brian Laundrie, her brother, and also she is asked if she thinks that Brian killed Gabby.
The media ended up misconstruing what I said when they asked me if I had seen my brother. Like I said in the beginning, they didn't say, have you seen Brian? It was, what's the weirdest thing about this all? It was, I haven't been able to speak to my brother. I tried to contact him after this. I tried to contact my family after this. I hadn't been able to speak to my brother.
Do you know about any additional burner phones?
I have no idea.
So you don't know nothing?
I do think that was the wrong clip, but we've got a few clips to share with you, so I think we'll get to it. But Brian, one thing that she said is in relation to the attorney for Brian Laundrie, she said, my parents' lawyer screwed me over. I'm livid, and I'm not talking to him. And then when asked, did Brian kill Gabby? She said, I don't know.
Again, I mean, these I don't knows are really, really telling. She's not standing there saying, my brother would never do this. I love my brother. There's no way. I mean, she's giving these I don't know answers. And I think that's really significant.
Right. The other thing that she said in a portion of this interview, she said, I wasn't ignoring Mr. Petito's phone call. I think there had been some questions about whether or not Mr. Petito, Gabby's dad, was reaching out to the Laundrie family asking for help. Can you glean some clarity into those conversations or any interaction between these two families when Gabby was still missing?
So what we know, Marnie, is early on in all of this, when Brian returned here to Florida without Gabby in Gabby's van, obviously Gabby's parents became extremely concerned. And according to her parents, they were reaching out to the Laundrie family, mainly to the parents behind me, basically begging for any information. And according to Gabby's parents, they were being flat out ignored. They were texting. They were not even getting responses to their text messages, which they found to be very, very strange considering Gabby was Brian's fiance. Why would the family suddenly be ignoring them? And that's what sparked them to initially call police.
Another couple things that Cassie said. She said, I'm upset. I've been silent because the FBI told me to. Let's listen to another clip here.
Have you ever seen Brian hit Gabby?
No.
Have you ever seen him fight?
No.
Have you ever seen him hit any woman?
No, I've never seen him be abusive or angry in anything. No.
You know that we talked to neighbors. We canvassed your parents' neighborhood.
Yeah.
They've heard screams coming out of your parents' house on multiple occasions.
Your parents' home.
Screams.
I don't know what to tell you about
Might have
that.
been our kids. We lived there for a year.
Oh, you lived at the home in Wabasso?
Yeah,
Gabby and Brian lived with us.
when they were in New York.
And you've never seen him fight? No argue? No?
Of course, you know, we bicker,
But nothing-
everybody bickers, but nothing like what no
But they have a
domestic anything.
constituted domestic violence.
No,
No.
yes, or else we would have done something about it.
Right.
Like, I don't stand for that. I was in a bad relationship similar to that what's saying has happened. I wouldn't let that happen. We're
A lot of evil monsters were made out to be.
We're not the monsters we're being made out to be. Brian, she also